Make him chase you down, apologize, and obsess. If you have a specific man that you want to start coming closer to you, to start opening his heart to you, to come back, even if he's rejected you, even if he's broken up with you before, that we want to start implementing principles of magnetic feminine polarity, magnetic feminine communication to draw him back into your life with a vengeance, where he wants you, he wants to claim you, he wants to be your man, and he sees you as a high value prize that he would never want to lose or leave from his life. So I'm Brody Boyd with Magnetize Your Man, and for over 20 years combined with my wife Antia, we've been helping thousands of successful women all over the world to get a loving, long-term, and committed relationship with the man they want. So let's go ahead and start this incredible journey together. So the ninth principle to draw him close, make him chase you down, is to actually not be low maintenance. Don't be low maintenance. This is a contradiction that a lot of women don't understand, because it's very easy to get this mindset that if you want a man to like you, to love you, to pursue you, that you need to be easy. You need to be enjoyable to be around. You need to be cool, calm, and collected. We used to use this phrase with some of our clients, Miss Too Cool for School, where you don't need anything, you're good, everything's good, there's no problems, there's no issues, and let's just have a good time, we're just having fun here. And this is actually what's considered being the doormat archetype, where you're actually setting aside your desires and your needs, likely to try to please him, to try to make him happy and meet his needs in some way, which is masculine energy. Anytime you're trying to help him, you're trying to make him happy, you are in your masculine. And actually what reverses the dynamic and makes him become more devoted to you and care more about you and be more attracted to you is when he starts to invest into you. He starts to give his masculine energy towards you in that beautiful exchange that makes you feel good and makes you happy and makes him happy, because he knows he's doing a good job as a man. So forget about this idea of being low maintenance. It's not necessarily about being high maintenance either, but what it is about being authentic, authentically open and honest and available and vulnerable to him, in all the ways that you appreciate him, that you admire him, you respect him, you trust him, and also with all the ways that you need his help, that you would like his help, that he can serve you in some way, that he can make you happy, problems that he can solve, issues that he can handle, that you can tackle together. And as long as they're shared respectfully using magnetic feminine communication that we'll teach you and we'll give you scripts for, specifically what to do in your situation, you can draw him back in and you can make him actually value you on a much deeper level that's not superficial. The next principle is number 8, which is, here we go, did I get that right? 8, turn your attention back to yourself. So masculine energy is about focusing on him. It's about wondering what other people are thinking, what they want, how you can make them happy, what they need, if they like you or not, if they love you or not. That is all masculine energy. That's you focused on the outer world, you trying to control the outer world to make people happy, to make them like you and love you so that you can feel fulfilled as a woman. However, masculine energy, if you put out masculine energy, you're going to repel masculine men. Yes, you will attract feminine men who are looking for a mommy and who are looking for somebody to take care of them, but you're not going to attract a masculine protector, provider, hero for yourself. You're going to repel that kind of man from you when you are putting out masculine energy. However, if you bring the attention back to yourself, which is feminine, feminine energy is internal focus about what you are thinking, what you are feeling, most importantly, what's going on in your body, what your needs and desires are, and all the things that are related to your bubble, your world. That is the feminine. That's going to draw him in, because when you focus on yourself, likely you are going to attract a man's focus onto you as well. When you can show him that you value yourself, that you care about yourself, and that you are aware of yourself, of your body, your emotions, and in fact, take it to the next level where you can actually share that with him and communicate with him in a vulnerable and respectful way that makes him understand what's going on inside of you, so that he can help you, so that he can either feel good that he's doing a good job, or help to make you feel even better so that he's doing an even better job and feel validated as a man. And the next principle, number 7, am I getting these right today? Number 7 is to self-regulate your emotions. So when you regulate your emotions, you are bringing the energy back to yourself, and you're also helping tap into your own feminine energy and process your feminine energy in an effective way. Because yes, there's a lot of things that a man can do and will do for you that you don't have to do for yourself. And a lot of your emotions he wants to help with. If you're feeling sad, he's probably going to want to make you feel better. If you've shared that sadness with him in a non-manipulative, non-controlling way, a judgment-free way that's not blaming him or making it about him, but instead vulnerably sharing what's going on for you. It's about you, not about him. That's going to draw him in. And there are some emotions that he can't even help you with. If they're very strong emotions and you're getting triggered and potentially going to move into masculine energy or start to blame or attack him, such as in an argument, it can be very powerful to regulate your own emotions, just like breathing for yourself. A man can't breathe for you, but he can do many other things for you, almost an unlimited amount of things that he can do for you. But some of the basics you can and you should often do for yourself so that you can be feeling good without needing him to necessarily have to fix everything inside of yourself for you. One of those things is self-regulation of emotions. So one tip that I recommend for this, if you're getting triggered, if you're feeling upset, if you have a lot of strong emotions coming up, vent them out. Vent them out in a healthy, constructive way, because there are no ugly emotions. There are only ugly behaviors. If you self-regulate, you can turn those ugly emotions or those ugly behaviors into beautiful emotions that he can feel and that can be expressed in a healthy way. But if they're very charged, they can often come out sideways and become very unhealthy and even toxic. So regulate them by expressing them. Express them by getting into a private space, such as your bedroom, such as in a car, and actually screaming out or crying out or kicking your hands and your feet, throwing in an adult temper tantrum to let your body process. You know, animals do this very well. When there's a trauma that happens or an attack from a predator, the animal, if it escapes, will often just shudder and shake off the feelings, shake off the trauma, shake off the emotions, and then it's back to normal. It's back to like as if nothing had ever happened. You can do this as an adult human as well by embracing your natural biological response to anger, to frustration, to grief, to trauma, and shake it out, scream it out in a healthy way, kick the pillow, whatever you have to do, get some privacy, go out in nature if you need to, but let those emotions process through and then come back to your man and have a healthy conversation from a more balanced place. So you're not likely to project it onto him and make it about him, which can be very dangerous for the relationship. Before I get to our next point here, if you haven't yet, you really want to master these principles to attract a loving, long-term, committed relationship with the man you desire fast. I highly recommend taking our free Magnetize Your Man quiz, which you can get by taking the link, clicking on the link in the description or comments below this video, or you can also go to our website, magnetizeyourman.com, to pick up that very special gift that we have for you to get your top customized recommendation to get the man and relationship you want, the relationship you want with him very quickly. So the next powerful principle here is to listen to him without interrupting. Again, when you're highly triggered, and this is where some of the other principles here come into play, it's very easy to start to become disrespectful towards a man, which is the number one thing that will push a man away, a masculine man away. Masculine men are allergic to disrespect because it is fundamentally attacking their masculine core. It is saying they are not good enough, they are weak, they are incompetent, and they can't really be your man. They can't really be your hero, which eventually over time, if a man is disrespected enough, he will become a depressed shell of a man and he will likely leave that relationship or just say, look, I can't make you happy. You need to go elsewhere. And that's how it can come out. It can also come out in different forms of arguments, and he might get angry, he might get defensive. He could just leave you right there, but that's one of the biggest things to look out for is disrespect in a relationship. And one of the things that is disrespectful that a lot of women don't realize is interrupting him when he's trying to get his point across, when he's trying to share something with you, share his perspective. And if you find that you're penetrating him energetically with your words and cutting him off and trying to get your perspective in before you fully heard him, that's going to feel like, for one, that you're in your masculine, you're putting him into the feminine energy. That's going to kill polarity. That's going to kill attraction in that moment. Secondly, you're disrespecting him. So you're saying, I don't really value your opinion. I don't value what you have to say. But thirdly, it is going to not allow you to actually understand what's going on for him so that you can help. Stephen Covey had a great, not that you can help, but that you can energetically receive him. Stephen Covey had a great saying, which is, seek first to understand before seeking to be understood. And so you want to hear him out fully before you start to share your perspective, which he's probably going to ask for as well, depending on the situation. Now, of course, if you're in the heat of the moment and you're arguing together, if you're triggered, you should probably set a boundary with yourself and get out of that situation, like I talked about with emotional regulation. You can say something like, hey, look, babe, I just noticed I'm getting really triggered right now, and I don't want to say something disrespectful, or I don't want to get into more of an argument, so I just need to take some space. I'm just going to take a break, and can we talk about this later tonight? Something like that is a great way to set a boundary with yourself, and you're making it about yourself. You're not saying you need to stop arguing with me. You need to stop being so rude or so hurtful with your words. You're just saying, I need to step away. I need to get some space. And you could even add that other part onto it, which is, can we talk about this later? Or can I talk about it tomorrow? Or I'll get back to you in a few minutes or a few moments if you're texting or for something like that. But you're basically saying, like, I don't want this to get any more toxic than it is, so I'm going to step away. And then watch how he behaves, because if he's a healthy man, he's going to respect that. He's not going to want to fight with you either. If he's an unhealthy, broken man, he may still keep pushing. He may become potentially abusive. You need to get out of a situation like that pretty quickly. Don't mess around with stuff like that. If a man is not showing care for your heart consistently, that's a sign that he's not the right man for you, plain and simple. Either the thing is you're looking for, does a man show care for your heart, or does he not show care for your heart? Now, we do have our 90-day Magnetize Your Man challenge that we teach our clients. Again, you can get it by the link for our free quiz that's included with that as well. But basically, the 90-day challenge is where you give a man 90 days using everything we're going to teach you, and we'll walk you through it step by step. And you give him a chance to shift into his healthy masculine energy, showing care, love, and devotion for you, increasing the polarity, increasing the attraction to dramatic levels. And if he still doesn't shift after that 90 days, he's probably a broken man, or he just has no level of care for you, and you need to get out of a situation like that as a high-value woman to show your own dignity and be the queen. So that's a very important point as well. The fifth key to have him chase you, apologize, and obsess around you and about you is to avoid trying to manipulate his perceptions of you. Anytime you're trying to make a man see you in a certain way, you're trying to make him see you as a high-value woman, or see you as attractive, or see you as beautiful, or see you as an achiever, or highly successful, or a boss babe, you're in masculine energy. You're trying to control something outside of you. Anytime you're doing that, you are in masculine energy rather than feminine energy. So the first key is to become aware that you're doing it. Stop it. If you find yourself in a hole, stop digging. So notice the masculine behavior, the masculine energy that may want to try to control him or change him or get something from him. And you need to become aware of it, and you need to let it go. You need to stop. Stop trying to manipulate his perceptions of you, because you're only going to end up pushing him away. Because you're either going to put him into his feminine energy, where now he has to submit to you, he has to be led by you and controlled by you, at least in his mind, or you're going to cause him to become a shell of a man, where he's like, why am I here in this relationship? She doesn't really seem to value or respect me on a deep level. Or you're going to cause conflict. You're going to cause disagreements. He's going to get defensive. He's going to want to argue or fight you, because ultimately, in a subtle way or a big way, he's going to feel disrespected by that. So instead of you trying to manipulate his perceptions of you and manage how he sees you and what he thinks and feels about you in the relationship, you need to be vulnerable. You need to be authentic. That's your feminine energy. Remember, we're bringing it back to you. We're opening up your heart, which is your feminine energy. Your heart, your mind, your heart and your body, not your mind. Your mind actually is where the masculine energy tends to come from. Your heart, your body, your senses, that's where your feminine resides. Your womb, your gut. All of that is your feminine. And opening up your heart and simply sharing with him how you're feeling and what you're appreciating about him, what you desire, what you need in a respectful way, which is where magnetic feminine communication comes in, and how important that is to use the magnetic feminine communication formula that we teach our clients. When you're sharing your desires and your needs and your problems, that will shift his energy towards you. That will draw him close, and that will make him start falling in love, because he no longer feels like you're trying to mother him. You're treating him like a child. You're dancing on eggshells, or you are trying to make him happy. Instead, he will feel the energy coming from you, what's going on for you, and he'll be called into his hero instinct within his masculine core to want to serve you and to want to make you happy, because you're coming from a respectful place, but also a vulnerable place. simply, this is who I am. This is where I'm at. These are the emotions coming up. Can you help me? Can you help me, please? I need a hero. I'm holding out for a hero till the end of the night. You're gonna let him be your hero. He wants to be your hero. Deep down inside, every man does. It just depends on how broken he is, or how much in his feminine he is, which can be related to being broken, or how much he actually cares for you. But if he's dating you, if he's around you, if he's communicating with you, he probably has some level of care for you, which means his masculine energy likely can be activated fully as long as he's not a deeply broken man. That's a big key. So the fourth key to make a man chase you down, obsess, and apologize is to know the difference between wanting an outcome and trying to get an outcome. Now, this is a very subtle distinction as well. We're talking about some more advanced principles here with masculine and feminine energy. When you are wanting an outcome, when you are wanting anything, and you have a desire in your heart, that is actually feminine energy. That is you connected to your feminine well-being and your feminine self-worth and saying, I'm a queen, I have desires, I want things, and that's okay. That's my heart. As long as it's coming from a place of you're coming from the right reasons. You're wanting things for the right reasons for yourself and not to try to, not to get some indirect benefit by like wanting to control him or wanting him to be your slave or to be your puppet. There are certain desires that may be coming from an unhealthy place, that is a wounded place within you, wanting to hurt him in some way. These are probably wounds inside of you rather than a true authentic place deep in your heart, which is like the pure heart inside of you that was there since you were little. That part of you that has desires, who wants her Prince Charming or her knight in shining armor or her forever everlasting love, whatever that would look like for you, that's probably a pure desire. And that's beautiful. And a man wants to feel that from you as long as it's not used to try to change him and manipulate him to give that to you. That's where we move into trying to get an outcome. So you can want an outcome. You just almost like you're talking to God and saying, God, I want a loving, long-term, and committed relationship. Or God, I want to be cherished. I want to be adored. Yes, that's for me. That's what I want. So that's like you're almost speaking to the universe. You're speaking to God and saying, this is my desire. And your man gets to simply witness it, here's your heart, and he gets to choose if he wants to step into that role of providing that desire for you or not. But he's not feeling like he's then being pressured into it or forced into it or manipulated into it. He gets free will choice as a man, as an empowered masculine man, because you want your man to be empowered in his masculinity because he's going to be a better provider, a better protector, and a better hero for you when he is. And then you give it up to him, and he either does and he steps into it or he doesn't, and you have to detach from the outcome. And that's a big part of when you can shift from masculine energy to feminine energy, is when you can actually want something, you can desire something, and you can enjoy being with your man. You can enjoy having things that he gives you and care and devotion while being detached from the outcome of whether he gives that to you or not. You simply are aware of it. You notice it. And again, that's where our Magnetize Your Man 90-day challenge comes into place, where you're giving him a period of time using what we'll teach you with magnetic feminine polarity, magnetic feminine communication, and exactly what to do. And you see what he does. You detach from the outcome. You practice these conversations. You share the right feminine openness with him, the feminine vulnerability, your feelings, making it about yourself, not about him, asking permission, sharing your problems, being objective about your problems, not judging him, not making him wrong for different things. Again, you're bringing it back to yourself. If you're doing those things, you watch how he behaves, and if he's showing care for your heart, that's great, which he's likely going to do when you use what we teach you over the 90 days. He's going to start showing more care and love and devotion for you. But if he doesn't, for some reason, he's probably a broken man, like we said, or he's just doesn't have enough care for you. Really, it doesn't matter. The fact is he's not showing care for your heart, but we're going to see how he shifts over the next 90 days. It could also be less if it's a newer relationship with a guy. It could also be longer. 30 days, you can compress it, but we want to see how he behaves, and then you know what kind of man you're dealing with. So you have to shift. It's okay to want an outcome, but when you're trying to manipulate him or control him to get that outcome, now you're in masculine energy. You're going to push him away. You're going to make him rebel, and he's not going to want to provide that for you because it feels now like he's being your slave rather than your hero. There's a big difference. So the next key here is to focus on being a receiver. Feminine energy is about receiving and enjoying, just like in sex. Masculine energy is about penetrating, giving, providing, making you happy, like in sex. So there are many different ways in your relationship with a man that you can focus on receiving rather than giving. The more you are giving to him, you're trying to make him happy, you're trying to provide for him, you're mothering him, you're treating him like a child, you are in masculine energy, you're going to kill the polarity, you're going to push him away. And that's just the facts. If you're in feminine energy and you're allowing him to give to you and invest to you, into you, to ask for help, to ask for his provision respectfully, that's the key, specifically and respectfully. Can I have some help? Could you help me open this jar? Could you help me fix my car? Would you be my hero and help me file my taxes? There's like a lot of different ways, a lot of different things a man can help you with. But when he does those things for you and you receive and you share your appreciation with him, now you're in full feminine masculine polarity. Now you're in the dance. You're in that sexy tango dance or that West Coast swing dance that I love, which is my favorite. But you're in the dance now where he's giving, you're receiving, he's leading, you're following, he's providing, you are accepting, and you are grateful and appreciative for that. And if he's not doing a good job, you're also open and vulnerable, still keeping your heart open to share that with him and seeing how he responds. Is he showing care or not showing care? But that's a big piece of this puzzle as well for you. The next key is number 2, be the gift. You don't need to provide the gift. You don't need to give him a Valentine's Day present or flowers or chocolates or a watch or a car. I had a woman that I was dating when I was younger, and she just told me that ex that she just broke up with, she had bought him a car, and then she'd also got me some things. But I was shifting into my masculine energy, and I was learning some of these principles when I was younger. I'm like, okay, it feels kind of weird when a woman is buying you things as a guy, when she's buying dinners, when she's giving you things. It kind of feels good on a level, but that's the feminine. That was my feminine energy that was like, oh, I actually like her paying for dinner. I like her buying things for me. But then as I started to learn more about masculine energy, I'm like, you know what? Actually, that doesn't feel good to me because it's actually disrespectful, and it's creating a dynamic where she's the provider, she's the hero, she's the man, and I'm the feminine. I was receiving from her. I was in the feminine, vulnerable, receiving energy, the childlike energy, and it doesn't feel good. Every man has a masculine core deep inside, and every woman has a feminine core deep inside. So when the man is activated by you, he starts to actually resent when you're giving him things and doing things for him because it feels like now you're putting him into the feminine role. He wants to provide for you. He wants to give to you. He needs those opportunities. He needs to be inspired into it by your feminine, open, vulnerable heart. And then he's going to want to keep giving more and more and more and more. But you have to shift that dynamic so that he can actually be realizing for himself, I don't want to be in the feminine role. I don't want to be receiving from you. I want to give. I want to provide. I want to make you happy because then I feel more empowered as a man. I feel stronger. And now you can have a healthier dynamic for both of you. He feels happier from his masculine core. You feel happier from your feminine core. You feel cherished and adored. And now you can have a real lasting relationship. Because of course, none of those relationships when I was younger, when I was experimenting with all these different things and learning different principles and studying all these books in pickup artist books and courses and things, and learning how to actually have women do things for me, it actually didn't feel great at the end of the day. Yeah, it was nice at some level, but at the end of the day, I was dissatisfied. And it wasn't until I met my wife where I felt like I could really provide on a deep level that was ultimately much more fulfilling to me. So it's very powerful. The next secret here is to build abundance. That's actually number 1. This is the number 1 big secret to make him chase you down, apologize, and obsessed with you is to build abundance into your life. And this means to live a life of abundance. Just like being the gift, you are the gift. You don't need to do much more for a man than simply be in your feminine and be receiving and be appreciative and sharing your feelings and being authentic in that, your full, authentic, vulnerable, feminine self. And that's all he really needs from you. He doesn't need any gifts or any of those other things. And because you are being abundance also in that moment, you are saying, I am the gift. I am abundance. Abundance is all around me. And you start to see that there's more than enough to go around for everybody, and you don't need to be attached to the outcome. There's more than enough love to go around, and there's more than enough high quality men to go around, really. And even if there isn't, the more you can embrace that belief and live from that belief, you will attract that into your life because of who you're being. Now you're being in your feminine. Now you're being open and available and detached from the outcome. Now, the other practical way that you can bring and build abundance into your life, no matter what your romantic situation is right now, if you're single, if you're dating a man, if you're in an exclusive relationship, if you're married, you can still cultivate an amazing social life. You can have a great social life. And if your man doesn't want you to have a great social life, assuming you're not doing things that you shouldn't, and maybe not just having all male friends in your social life, or males that male friendship is a little tricky, because I'm sort of the belief still that there's no men that really want to just have a friendship with a woman, that there is at some level a sexual motive. But it's okay to have some male friends. I still believe it's okay to have some male friends. But in general, let's not get into that conversation. Having a great social life, ideally, which means friends, family around you, and opportunities where you're not just making your man the only source of your happiness, the only source of your social connection, that you have other groups, events, hobbies, activities, people in your life that you can connect to that lift you up rather than lifting you down, and creating a life that you love as well, meaning hobbies, feminine activities that lift you up, that fill you up, getting out in nature, taking bubble baths, going on hikes, going on the water, playing with animals, going to the zoo, depending on what you love, art, crafts, and taking care of yourself as well. Self-care is a big piece of that. Making sure you're taking care of your health, your well-being, your sleep, your food, etc. That's going to bring more abundance in your life. That's going to fill up your cup so that your cup overfloweth and you become more attractive. You become that magnet to your man. You become the sun and not the planets, because the sun is abundant with vibrance, with light, with energy, with positivity, and it just naturally draws in. All the plants are turning towards the sun. People throughout history have even worshipped the sun, and there's a lot of power with that, and a lot of provision, and the gifts that come from that. So being the light and being this beautiful, open, vulnerable, available flower that's also taken care of, that's getting abundance, and being abundance in your life will draw a man into your life and want to be with you. So that's more of the energetic mindset piece of all this as well. So I'm going to go ahead and answer some questions that have come in. So you can post some questions and comments now. Again, if you haven't yet, you want to take this to the advanced level, really master these principles for yourself, have a loving, committed relationship with your man, take our free quiz by clicking the link below or going to magnetizeyourman.com. Let's see what has come in from some of the questions here. Let's check the goodie bag. So, let's see what we got here. So, Peaceful said, watching from Australia. Thank you so much. You're welcome. Pink Lady said, hi, you've helped me so much in dating. You're welcome. Glad to hear that. And glad it's helpful. Crystal said, it's like the fancy way of saying Crystal. How does that work for a long distance relationship? So in a long distance relationship, the energetic principles are the same. Now, the only difference really with the long distance is obviously the physical component, and potentially the communication component can become an issue. So without the physical component, that's okay as well, because you can still maintain, grow polarity even over a distance. Now, what you're going to need is to use what we're teaching you here, principles of magnetic feminine polarity and magnetic feminine communication, so that when you are communicating with him, when you have a conversation, when you're on the phone or on Zoom, which is even better, that you are able to communicate to him in a way that is feminine, that's respectful, that's vulnerable, that is open and available, that makes it about what you're going through rather than making it about him. So your feelings, your emotions, your desires, appreciating him, and letting him lead. So letting him lead by asking you questions, by helping you with things, asking for his opinion, asking for his advice, asking him for his provision, whether that's his attention or him helping you solve a problem, or just simply listening to you. And that's how he'll feel good, is by providing for you, being able to give you the gift of his attention or his service in different ways. So you can do all of that over long distance, and even ask for what you need. So you need to be open and authentic with him, again, in a respectful way, by asking him if you can have a phone call, if you can potentially meet in person, asking him when the next time is you can meet in person, sharing your desires, your feelings for that, and letting him solve the problem. Asking him, what do you think about that? Or can I ask for some help with that? Or can I ask, or just saying, I don't know what to do. Like I would love to see you, and I would love to spend some time together soon, but I don't know what to do, because then you give it up to him. Now he has to solve the problem. You're simply sharing your desires and being available to whatever his solution might be. But you definitely want to speak up. You don't want to suppress your desires, because we don't want to be low maintenance like we were talking about before. You want to be authentic, and you want to be true to yourself, and so that you can be the queen and not just be stepping on eggshells and saying, oh, I don't want to offend him because we're already long distance, and then maybe he's going to lose interest in me. And, a queen is willing to detach from the outcome and to say, you know what, if he can't handle my feelings when I'm sharing them in a respectful way, I'm still in my feminine, I'm gentle about it. You may add some fluff occasionally with how you share things. Then you're going to see how he responds. And if he responds with care, that's awesome. If he doesn't respond with care, and you notice it, you can have a conversation with him about that. You notice it, and if over time he's not shifting, then that's probably not the right relationship for you, because he's either a broken man or he simply doesn't care enough. And he should want to help you. He should want to make things work and try to find a solution. So that's what I recommend for now, Crystal. Hope that was helpful. Carol said, how can I save this video to be able to find it and watch it again? Yeah, wherever you're watching this video, Carol, I believe you're watching it here on YouTube, you can save it. There's a way you can favorite your videos and watch them later, and which I'd recommend. You can reference this. There was a lot of gold nuggets we put into this training that I added. I mean, there was like 9 different points. So yes, I would recommend referencing that as needed, because you may need a refresher. You may need a refresher to go deeper. And of course, if you get personal coaching, which we can help you with as well, and get it customized specifically for your situation, exactly what to say and exactly what to do, that's going to help you a lot too, Carol. So either of those things will be great to get you on the right path. It just depends on really how fast you want to move and how deeply you want to ingrain these principles and these teachings. So Jody said, thanks for the loving advice. It's all good, 100%. Yes, Jody, you're welcome. That's a great mindset. It's all good. That's part of the feminine energy. That's detaching from the outcome. That's going with the flow. Now, when we say go with the flow, that phrase, you still want to be authentic while you're in the flow. You want to be going with the flow as long as the flow is enjoyable for you. It's just like a dance with a man. If a man is leading you on the dance floor and he's in his healthy masculine, or I'm using that analogy, but of course that's true for relationships, then by all means enjoy his leadership. Enjoy the dance. Follow his leadership. Receive. Play. Trust him. Respect him for that. But if at any point he's stepping on your toes, or he's not leading you well, he's jerking you around, or he's pushing you into other people, then you need to either stop dancing with him, or you need to have a serious heart-to-heart conversation with him and say, dude, can I share something with you? Can I share a feeling I'm having with you? And tell him how it's making you feel about his leadership abilities, but do so in a respectful way. Make it about yourself, because that's not going to go in a good direction. Likely, if you make it about him and how he's doing a bad job and he's doing it wrong, he's probably going to get defensive, and he's probably not going to want to change his behavior, and he's probably going to just choose to dance with somebody else. But if you share it in a respectful way, and you are open and authentic and vulnerable with him, he's probably going to want to help you. I don't even know how I got on that tangent, but I wanted to mention it as it comes up, because that's a good point. To go with the flow is feminine, but speak up in the flow as needed, just like in a dance. Sylvia said, my man lives in Vancouver, British Columbia, and I live in Alberta. Both of us live in Canada. And how will this work from a long distance relationship? Yeah, so we got a couple long distance relationship questions here. Hopefully you heard my answer from Carol already, Sylvia, because the same would apply to you. And you can let me know also if you have more specific questions on that below as well. No Name said, do you have a tip to keep my marriage lasting forever? What can keep him in love, attract him? He doesn't share how much he earns, even though I'm his best friend. How do I change this? Well, I would definitely look at how are you approaching that conversation with how much he earns. That can be a very sensitive topic for a man, because a lot of men get their sense of value by how much they are earning and being able to provide for the people close to them. Again, masculine energy is about provision, it's about protection, and it's about being a hero at a deep level. And so a man won't feel like a man really if he doesn't feel that he can really provide for you, or that he can protect you, or that he can serve you in some way, make you happy in some way, solve problems for you in some way. So I would be very careful around that conversation, and I would make sure you're using magnetic feminine communication whenever, if and when you bring that up with him. And hopefully you're not saying things like, babe, like, how much are you earning lately? Like, are you making enough money to provide for us? I'm getting really concerned. I mean, that's okay if you start to share your feelings around that. But anytime you're penetrating him energetically, and you're challenging him, and you're questioning his leadership and his ability to provide, that can become tricky waters to navigate. And so you want to have those conversations mostly about how you feel. And if you're feeling anxiety or concern or uncertainty, you want to share those emotions with him in the right way so that he can solve it, and he can actually empathize with how you're feeling in relation to that conversation, and then he can want to help rather than feeling like he has to help. He has to now share with you, or he's being prodded or nagged. He's going to probably get resentment and probably close up, which we don't want, because that's not going to improve your relationship. So that's the first thing. And so your question was really how to keep my marriage lasting forever. What can keep him in love and attract him? Yeah, really everything we're teaching you here. The keys, the two big keys, are magnetic feminine polarity and magnetic feminine communication. And really you need both. Magnetic feminine polarity is kind of the overall strategy here. It's the overall philosophy and the understanding, and it's the energetics of it, such as, are you giving to him or are you receiving from him? Are you trying to control the outcome, or are you detached from the outcome? Are you sharing your feelings, or are you sharing your thoughts? Are you trying to manipulate his perception of you, or are you sharing your desires? Like a lot of the things we talked about already today. And there's many others we go into in our advanced trainings and our advanced courses. Again, you can get by clicking the link below, the free quiz that'll help customize this for you and tell you our best recommendations to help you with your man in your specific situation, so you can get the real support you need to actually save your marriage or make sure your marriage lasts long term. Which we help women with every day. So it's very powerful work that we do in our coaching memberships, in our courses, in our communities. But yeah, so you want to use those principles. And the other one is magnetic feminine communication, because communication is key. Really, your whole life is a series of conversations. It's a series of connections and conversations that you're having with other people or with yourself. And so being human means you need to master communication. If you want to succeed as a human, if you want to especially succeed as in your relationship, or as a woman in your relationship from the feminine, it's so helpful to master communication and how to actually speak to a man, how to share your feelings and your desires and your needs and your problems and everything else that you might have going on with you with a man in a way where he feels good about it. He wants to receive it and hear it, and he wants to help, and he wants to provide, and he wants to put his covering around you and say, you're my woman. I want to protect and provide for you for the rest of my life and devote myself to you. So you need to be able to share properly using feminine communication and being vulnerable and being respectful and all the other principles that go into it, as well as the specific scripts that we'll give you will help you navigate specific situations, because there is a formula that you need to use. Because if you just use little bits and pieces of what I teach you here as far as the communication, and you're not pulling it all together in the right way, it can still come across as penetrating him energetically, or it can be confusing to him, or it can be like you're sending mixed signals. So when you can pull it all together and wrap it around in a nice bow, when you give him these communications and you have magnetic feminine conversations with him, you can open him up and you open yourself up, which is what opens him up. And so that's a big key for you. So that's, again, just to summarize it, magnetic feminine polarity, magnetic feminine communication. Those are the biggest keys that are going to help you keep your marriage lasting forever and keep him in love and attract him over and over again, and navigate tough conversations and tough situations like finances, which is one of the biggest causes of divorce, by the way. It's not necessarily the finances, by the way. The big cause of divorce is the conversations around the finances, and the way that the couples are handling these conversations, primarily, I would say how the feminine, the woman in the relationship is handling those conversations in a way that doesn't disrespect her man, that doesn't emasculate him, that doesn't come across as trying to control him or nagging him, etc., so that he feels good, that he still feels valuable enough, even if he's not making as much money as he wants to, or he should be, really, that he can still feel good about that and become better and be inspired within himself to want to become better, rather than feeling like he's not good enough, he has no worth, and he's not able to make you happy. And so he'll stop really caring because he won't feel like he has a place in the relationship. Men need to feel needed in order to feel that they're in the right relationship. If they don't feel needed, if they don't feel valued, they're going to look elsewhere for an opportunity where they can be needed and they can be valued, even if that means being by themselves and just playing video games the rest of their life, which unfortunately a lot of men seem to be choosing to do in our modern times, because they can't find a place, they can't find that harbor where they're actually valued, and a lot of it is on them too. A lot of it's on society and how society has kind of devalued the masculine and devalued the feminine, but really told men that they're not good enough, that they're toxic masculinity, that they are, going to be accused of sexual harassment if they talk to a woman, if they approach a woman and ask her out, and all these different things where men are holding back because they feel like, I guess society just doesn't want me. Society doesn't value me, so I'm just going to play video games and just live my own life. And so we want to shift that, especially in your man, where he, no matter what's going on with society and the conversations or propaganda that might be happening, a man can still with you say, well, with her, I feel valued. With her, I feel good enough. With her, I feel appreciated and respected and trusted. And I want to serve her. I want to provide for her. And she's my woman. And I don't need to play video games all the time. I can be a hero for her. I can be a hero outside of virtual reality with her in a small way. And that's going to give me deeper fulfillment. And so that's how you can activate the masculine within your man. And in doing so, you also activate and honor and appreciate your own feminine, because you're saying basically, I believe that I deserve to have care and devotion from a man, and I'm willing to ask for that. I'm willing to be vulnerable for that, and I'm willing to receive that from a man and actually appreciate his gifts and appreciate men in general, and appreciate what he can do for me. So I hope that was helpful to you. Someone said, good evening. Good evening to you, Harriet. Hit that like button. Yes, Cheryl said, hit that like button and tickle the bell for future notifications. Yes, you'll get notified when I go live in the future if you want, by hitting the notification bell and subscribing if you're not already subscribed. So you can get your questions answered potentially as well here on the Brody Coaching Lottery. So Angie said, how do I tell him I need him when he thinks I don't? He tells me I don't because I make more, got cut off, but you might be saying because you make more money than him. Again, like what I said before, hopefully you heard my answer. Money is a sensitive subject. It can be for men because that's where they can get their sense of being a provider and a value to a woman. Now, that's how we overcome this, because now, like I said, the societal conversation, more women are getting college degrees than men are, and that's been going on for a while now, partly for a lot of the reasons I already mentioned. So men are not getting a lot of the opportunities. They're not getting a lot of the, they're not even taking a lot of the opportunities that are available anymore because they don't feel that value, and they don't feel, they're not being encouraged into that. They're being basically told they need to, basically let women lead, let women make more money than you, let women, it's time for women to shine. Or there's like some of these t-shirts I saw, which is, it says, the future is female. And it's funny because my church actually put out a t-shirt of their own that said the future is family, which I love that. That's way more beautiful of a sentiment to me, which is it's not about men and women competing here. It's about family. It's about harmony. It's about relationship, where he can be in his healthy masculine, you can be in your feminine, you can receive his adoration, his love, and devotion, and he can give it and feel good about it. And now you can have this dance, this beautiful dance on the dance floor, where it's equal but opposite. They're equally valuable, equally powerful energies, but they're opposite energies. They're totally different. And as long as we're trying to make men into women and make women into men, we're going to lose the power of that. We're going to lose the power of the opposite energies. And that's why attraction and devotion has gone down so much. And, divorce is at such an all-time high, as it's always been for the last 10, 20 years. And then Gen Z and others are not even really getting into relationships is because we've lost that. We've lost the difference. Yes, we're both equally valuable, but we have different energies, and we need to embrace that if we want to have healthy, happy families and loving relationships moving forward into the future as humans. So it's great. So that's where was I going with that? So you got to tell him you need him. It's better to show him that you need him rather than to tell him that you need him. So show him all the ways that he can provide for you. Be vulnerable. Let him have space that he can fill in your life. Let him have things that he can do for you. Yes, there's a lot you can do, and there's a lot you are probably capable of. But how can you let him handle some of those things that you don't necessarily want to? Even if you do, maybe there's some things you can just give to him because you want him to be able to provide. So asking him for help with managing the finances, asking him to take that on, that you're not going to do it anymore. Asking him for help with, of course, everything around the house that needs to be fixed, that needs to be updated, life decisions, vacation decisions, planning, even family matters, health matters, asking him for help, asking him for advice. It also depends on what your man's naturally good at, what his talents are, but look at your man and see what is he actually good at? What are his talents? What are his gifts? And how can I ask him for more help with those things in general and let him serve me? And so that way you can bring back the masculine energy in him. You can bring back the polarity, even if you make much more money than him. Because we have women who come to us, who work with us, who I would consider they're in what's called the uber wealthy or ultra wealthy kind of demographic. So these are women worth multiple millions of dollars, and they come to us and they hire us. And oftentimes the men they're dating, of course, they're not making that much money. They're not making millions of dollars or having that kind of a net worth. And so how do they build that polarity? That's what we help them with. We help them to actually get the men that they want to still feel like they can be men, that they can be valued, that they can be needed, and they can feel their masculine core is activated because of how she is, who she's being with him. She's using magnetic feminine polarity. She's using magnetic feminine communication. She's asking him for help. She's letting him lead. She's letting him make decisions. She's letting him give to her. She's not giving to him. She's not managing him. She's not meeting his needs. She's not paying for things for him. She's not helping him to be happy or treating him like a child. She's letting him be a strong, empowered man, and even letting him manage her money. But this, of course, is with a man you trust. Now, if this is your husband, I would say, and you really trust your husband, of course, let him manage everything. Let him handle all of it. But if you don't trust him, you want to be careful with that. I mean, if there's some doubts there, if he's an addict, or if she's shown signs of narcissism or abuse, be very careful with that. Definitely very careful. But find those ways that you feel comfortable with that you can start asking him for more and more and more so he can do more and more things for you and invest more into you. And now he feels more like a man. Now he doesn't even remember the whole financial conversation. Now, as far as paying for things, because I know you're probably going to ask that question next. Well, if I have all the money and he has no money, I mean, how are we going to do anything? How are we going on vacations? How are we going to buy a house, for example? Hopefully you're not dating a man that has no money and who is homeless and he's just relying on you for everything. Hopefully a man needs a mission in his life, so he should have some kind of career outside of the family, ideally. He needs something that he's doing to contribute to the world, to community, even if it's with a nonprofit. He should be doing something, and you can share your feelings around that to encourage him into it. But as long as you have conversations around it and you let him plan and you let him make decisions around it and you let him manage finances, it could still be technically your finances, but let him take the lead on those activities. Let him plan those things out. Again, assuming that you trust him. This is a man that's shown himself to be trustable. That's going to feel really good to him, and that can regain the polarity, even in those situations where it's technically your money. But we've got to inspire him into his masculine as much as possible so that you can relax and really be able to trust him, to submit to his leadership, to allow him to take that control and enjoy and share your feelings if you don't enjoy it, just like in the dance. And I know it's a big leap, but that's part of stepping in the feminine. There's a lot of trust involved. It can feel like a free fall sometimes. You want to make sure your man is basically trustable and then use our 90-day challenge to see how he shifts over time. So hope that helps, Angie. We can go into more specifics, and I would love to coach you more on that as well, because that can be a very powerful situation for you once you have it handled and once you have it mastered in the right way to have a great relationship with him. So you may need some specialized coaching with that, but that's the path I would recommend. That's the general direction to start. get you on the jump start with that. So Texas Girl said, great advice. You're welcome. Glad you're liking it. And then Tracy said, how to get him to communicate and what to communicate, meaning calls and texts, or does that come with time? Oh, how do you get him to want to communicate? To get him to want to communicate is you need to be respectful about it and ask for it. And so I would recommend starting with the basic phrase and just say this to him or text it to him and say, may I ask for a phone call? My belief is that if a man's not even willing to get on the phone with you, he's probably not the right man for you. Of course, that can shift when you use what we teach you with our Magnetic Feminine 90-day challenge, but he needs to at least show some care for you, some willingness to communicate so that you can continue to be open with him and use Magnetic Feminine communication. So if he's not willing to communicate, that's a tough situation. But if you ask for help and you're vulnerable and respectful about it, ask him for what you want and be specific, he'll probably say yes. And then that gives you a gateway to now share more of your feelings openly, vulnerably, respectfully in your feminine so that he can feel your heart. He can empathize with your feelings of loneliness or feelings of sadness or anxiety or uncertainty that he can help you with. You got to give him that opportunity. We need to get that window open so that then he can get the full glimpse of your whole heart. And so ideally that's only going to happen when you have a conversation with him in person or over the phone. So that's where it starts, and you need to be able and willing to ask for that so that he can provide that for you. And I would start with that basic request and see what he says and goes from there and go from there. You can add a little bit of fluff around it too, like, hey, hope you're doing well, haven't spoke for you for a while and curious if we could catch up on the phone to reconnect. Can I ask what you think about that? Or can I ask if that's okay? Or just simply say that. You don't even have to really say, can I ask what you think about that after that. If you shared your desire like that, that's another way you can say it. It's adding a little bit of fluff, but the basic idea is you're asking for a phone call. And then you go from there, see how he responds. Detach from the outcome. Whether or not he says yes, you're going to survive, you're going to be okay, and start to look for other opportunities in your life. Start to make yourself available if it's not the right guy for you. But that'll give you a place to start at least and start shifting his energy. And then you can use everything else that we'll teach you and will help you with step by step. All natural Rebecca. I love that name. It's like sometimes I call my kids organic free range. They're like organic kids because we raise them very healthy, organic, all natural. You want to be a organic free range human. Like let's get out of the let's get pesticide free and chemical free and get healthy again. Let's make ourselves healthy again. All right, so Doris, yeah, you're welcome. Glad you're watching, Rebecca. Glad it's helpful. Doris said, I like to give small, thoughtful gifts. This reminds me of you kind. Is that still masculine? Yeah, Dara, the thing is with that is if your man's connected to his masculine core, it's not going to really do anything for him. If he's on the more feminine side, yeah, he might say, oh, yay, a gift. Thank you. I love it. It's beautiful. So thoughtful of you. So kind. Do jazz hands or something. But if he's a more masculine man, it's not going to do anything for him because you're giving to him. You're providing for him in that moment. You're reversing the polarity. He's receiving from you, just like in sex. Now he's the one being penetrated by you and receiving your gifts, rather than him being able to penetrate you and give you his gifts, give you his seed of masculine power and essence energetically. And so that's why these gifts aren't really so great. Now, one thing you can do, because I had a lot of women in our coaching group actually leading up to Valentine's Day, a lot of women were asking about, some of you are probably watching this right now, were asking me about what to do for your man for Valentine's Day. Like, is it okay to give him a gift? Is it okay to do this? Or can I? And I said, if you're going to give him any gift, remember what I talked about in this video already earlier, be the gift. You are the gift. There's not much more you need to give him than just be feminine, open, vulnerable, receptive, you and your uniqueness, and appreciating him for that and letting him serve you and being his healthy masculine and admiring him and respecting him and being and enjoying the dance together with whatever you do, having fun together, going on adventures, etc. And mostly it's about not being masculine. If you want to have a great relationship, a lot of it is just stopping the madness, stopping the masculine behavior, like giving him gifts, uh, and doing things for him and nurturing him and trying to make him happy and treating him like a baby, treating him like a child. As long as you stop a lot of those things or trying to control him, telling him what to do, etc., you're going to probably have a great relationship. A lot of this is not doing the masculine behaviors, and then you're pretty much by default, you're in your feminine. If you're not being masculine, you're almost by default, you're in your feminine. Or you're at least neutral, which is better than being in your masculine with a man, unless he's a feminine man and that's the kind of relationship you want, where you're in the masculine and he's receiving from you. Now, you can still give him quote unquote like sort of gifts. Now, if you want to give him a thoughtful gift, what I recommend, it's much better to write him a letter or write him a card about how much you appreciate him, especially the things you trust about him, that you respect about him, that you admire about him. That's a better gift. If you're going to give him a gift of any kind, this is what I recommended to a lot of women for Valentine's Day, for birthdays, for Christmas, rather than buying him something, because most men, he can buy something himself anyways. If he really wants something, he probably already has it. So that's why women have such a struggle with, what should I buy my man for Christmas? What should I get him? I don't know. I have to ask his mother. I have to ask his friends. I have to ask. It's because guys don't really want gifts. They don't really care about those, because if he wanted a gift, he would already buy it. If he's a masculine man, he would already have it. So he doesn't need a new watch, probably. He doesn't need a new thingamajig. You know, he'll probably get it on his own or save up for it, and then he'll feel better because he actually earned it for himself. But you can give him your heart. You can give him your appreciation. You can give him your openness and your vulnerability and show him what he does for you that's so great and why you value him, why you need him in your life. That's much more powerful. So if you're going to give him a gift, give him a nice card, write a letter, share your heart about those things. It's going to go a lot longer, a lot further than buying him a new tie. So Renee said, Reneo said, glad to catch you live. Glad you're here. Welcome. Join the party. We're just getting the party started here. No, just kidding. We're probably going to wrap it up pretty soon, but glad to have you here. Reneo. And then Christine said, how do I find a good man when I'm 74? Well, Christina, what I'd recommend is joining our course and taking our Magnetic Feminine online dating course. So we have an advanced course on how to do online dating from the feminine, because it's very easy and it's a slippery slope online to do dating from your masculine rather than your feminine and be not attracting men. So I recommend, I'm a big fan of meeting men in person, of course, and going to social events and activities and church community events and parties and hosting parties and going out with girlfriends and meetup groups and Facebook events and meetup.com or eventbrite.com. And so there's all these in-person events you can go to depending on your city, but you should probably be weaving in some online dating as well, so you have an opportunity for other men to come in from different channels, at least having a profile up. And so we'll teach you how to polish your profile, to make your profile, how to receive messages, respond to messages, even sending messages from the feminine, which kind of blows women's mind in some way, how you can actually send messages and even quote unquote initiate, but from the feminine. As long as you're using feminine communication, you're like the flower simply opening up, or you're like the woman dropping her handkerchief in old times to show the man, hey, I'm available, I'm ready. And you're dropping that handkerchief so that a man can pick it up if he so chooses to and respond and pursue you, because you're doing it in the right way from feminine energy. So if you want that, Christina, I'd recommend, again, taking our free quiz. You get a lot of access to all of our most advanced, most powerful trainings and courses that you can really master this for yourself once and for all. And it's a journey. It's not a destination. It's a journey. So I'd recommend getting on the journey and going deep with this, where I'm coaching women like this. I can coach you live also. But take our free quiz. You'll get a customized recommendation and have the opportunity probably to get into our Magnetic Feminine online course, online dating course, which will really help you as well. But that's some of the starting points of what I'd recommend. You will attract high quality men. You'll attract masculine men who are extremely drawn to you, and you start your relationship right from the beginning so that you don't have to repair a broken relationship, which is a lot of the women who come to us. They're in a situation with a broken man, or the relationship is not going where they want it to go, or the man is pulling away. And that's really where we focus most of our energy, is how to turn those situations around. But the same principles apply in a slightly different way when you're attracting men as well. And we'll teach you how to do that and have a great relationship for the rest of your life. Let's make the rest of your life the best of your life, because it's never too late to be in your feminine in the right way, because you're coming back to your true self. You're actually coming back to your core. Like I said before, every woman has a feminine core deep inside, and we're helping you to reconnect with that. We're not changing you. We're not making you into somebody different. We're not teaching you how to play games or be manipulative. We're teaching you how to connect to your authentic self, your heart, where it actually is inside of your body, your heart, in your body, your emotions, your womb, places you may not have connected to for a long time. And we're helping you to connect to those and to use those and to share those with a man and be authentically who you really are from your core, not trying to manipulate him or change him in some way, which is only going to actually get you the opposite result that you want, most likely, which unfortunately a lot of dating advice out there is teaching women how to basically use somewhat manipulative tactics to try to get their man to change or get him to come closer to them, rather than how can you be almost brutally vulnerable with a man, which is what we're teaching you here. So open-hearted that your heart is like glowing and it's radiating, and it feels scary. It feels vulnerable. If it wasn't uncomfortable in some way, it's probably not real vulnerability, because otherwise you'd just be doing it all the time. So vulnerability by its nature will feel slightly uncomfortable, but we'll help you with that, and we'll help you navigate that to have the relationship that you truly desire. All right, I'll rapid fire answer a couple more of these before we close it up for today. So Elizabeth said, how to treat men who is inconsistently just starting to be my boyfriend and girlfriend for 22 months. Or you're just starting to be boyfriend and girlfriend for 22 months. Yeah, if a man is inconsistent with how he treats you, and if he's giving you the hot and cold treatment, if he's treating you well some days and other days he's not, you need to have some magnetic feminine conversations with him. And you need to share your feelings around that, the impact, because he may not understand. Men are not mind readers, and they're also not heart readers oftentimes. They don't know exactly what's going on in your heart and in your mind. And he may guess sometimes, or he may be completely unaware. And actually, the more masculine a man is, the harder it actually will be for him to fully understand and fully connect to your heart, because he's living more in his head. He's living more in his mission, solving problems, providing, figuring out solutions, wanting to be the hero for you. And so he's focused on his mission, and he's doing things. And so he's not going to be as connected to his own heart, because in order to be the hero, you oftentimes have to, in some ways, ignore your own heart. You have to kind of bypass that and say, like, I just got to get the mission done. I got to go into battle. I got to face the enemy. I got to face the demon, and I have to bring home the treasure. And so you become his surrogate heart as a woman. You become his connection, his gateway to his own emotions, to his own feelings, when you're open and vulnerable and feminine in the right ways. And so you need to share that with him in the right way, respectfully, and asking for permission, not penetrating him energetically, not making it about him, but making it about yourself, and sharing the problem so that he can fix it, asking him for help. And we'll teach you how to do that. We'll give you specific scripts for your situation based on other things that he might have done, because it's going to depend on that as well. But we'll help you with that too. So again, I'd highly recommend taking the free quiz. That's a good start for that. But that's what will get you on the right path, Elizabeth, to understand those principles so that you can communicate with him effectively, so that he understands and wants to change on his own, wants to help you on his own, and be your consistent boyfriend rather than an inconsistent boyfriend. That's not fun for anybody, but especially for you. So Crystal said, we are very much into each other. He's very loving and supportive in this. He has no problem, as we can talk about anything. Thank you for your advice. That's great to hear, Crystal. And Nikki said, magnetic feminine communication has been awesome, but what percentage of the time should I be using them? 80 to 90% of the time? Well, really, Nikki, I'll say this. Magnetic feminine communication is most important and most powerful when there's an issue, when there's a problem in the relationship, when there's some unmet needs that you have, or some unmet desires, or he's being hurtful to you in some way. That's when these conversations and this communication is most important, because that's also the times often when women are most likely to move into masculine energy and masculine communication, where now you start to blame him, you start to criticize him, you start to disrespect him in subtle and unsubtle ways, you start to try to lead him or control him or treat him like a child and mother him, or give to him and try to meet his needs and try to make him happy, making it about him again, etc. So that's when that is most important, is when there's an issue, when there's a problem, or when there's a desire that you have. How do you communicate that in a way where he wants to help you? That's where often the relationship will go. It has a crossroads, and your relationship may right now be at a crossroads where it can go to become really good relationship or a really bad relationship, depending on how you handle certain situations and certain conversations, like we were talking about today around finances or other issues that may be happening in your relationship, like he's being inconsistent, his communication is inconsistent, or there's a long distance relationship and you're navigating challenges with that. So that's when it's especially the most important. And then beyond that, of course, you can continue in so many other ways using magnetic feminine communication to share appreciation with him, to share things with him in a respectful way, to ask for help in smaller ways, and to, keep your heart open with him. And of course, beyond that, you can just have fun. Beyond that, you can just enjoy the relationship, enjoy the dance, and follow his lead and be your playful self, be your real self, be authentic. And as long as you're not being in your masculine, you are using feminine communication. As long as you're not using masculine communication most of the time, you are already in your feminine. So you can use it essentially 100% of the time. So that would be really the ideal, because the way I view it is either you're using feminine communication or you're using masculine communication. And so to know that distinction, which we go into very specific detail in our courses around what exactly constitutes masculine energy and masculine communication, and then what constitutes feminine energy and feminine communication, and all the different ways that can come across in different situations with men. So it's very important to learn, and you need to learn that if you want to have a long-term, loving, committed relationship where you can navigate issues that will come up, because they will still come up, but it's all about how you navigate them that'll make the difference. It's the difference that makes the difference. So hope that was helpful, Nikki, and that'll get you a different way to think about it and speak about it. And then Pina said, recently I lost a connection with a man who said he can no longer be intimate with me because premarital sex is a sin. I understand and respect his decision, but now he stopped communications. What's next? It's kind of, unfortunately, sort of a funny situation, because he's already had sex with you, it sounds like. You guys have already been intimate, and now he's like, whoa, it's a sin. I don't want to sin anymore. I don't want to do this anymore. Because, yeah, I agree with him. You shouldn't really have sex before you're at least in an exclusive relationship, ideally until you're married, really, where there's a commitment. The way I view it is, as a man claimed you, has he really said, you are my woman long term, I want you in my life long term, and I'm showing care for your heart consistently, then, and you're exclusive, and he's not dating or sleeping with any other women, then it's appropriate time to okay, now we can potentially be intimate. Now we can have sex. Because otherwise it's like buying a house or selling your house and then trying to negotiate the price after the house has already been purchased or sold. And it's kind of awkward. It's kind of hard to do that because you've already given him your most intimate part of your body. So there's kind of hard to walk back from that and say, well, I just want a relationship. I want an exclusive relationship. Well, you weren't really showing that to him with your behavior before that. So how is he supposed to really believe you when you say that? But the other thing is, now that he's pulled back, I would be suspicious, and I would say that he's probably stopped having sex with you, not because of the sex piece, because obviously he's already shown himself willing to cross that line. More likely there's another issue that's going on, and he's wanting to distance himself from you in general. He's pulling away for some other reason, likely. I don't really believe that it's because of the sex piece, because if that was really true, he wouldn't have had sex with you in the beginning. So I would look at what is the actual issue? What could actually have pushed him away? And were there any areas in your relationship where you were in your masculine energy, where you were mothering him or trying to make him happy, meet his needs, rather than sharing your feelings and your desires and being open and vulnerable with him? Or were you trying to control him? Were you trying to criticize him? Were you shaming him in some way? Were you emasculating him in some way? There's so many subtle ways that can happen that you may not even be aware of, which is why coaching is so powerful. There's an old saying that a fish doesn't know that it's wet. A fish is just swimming in the water, and it's like enjoying its life, but it doesn't know that there's an Eiffel Tower that exists, there's a Mount Rushmore that exists, there's forests and trees and cities. A fish doesn't know about those things because all the fish knows is that it's swimming. It's just that's its life. But if it takes somebody outside the fish to say, "Hey, you're in the water. You're wet," and his fish is like, "Whoa, I'm in the water. I didn't even know. I didn't even know there was such thing as water. I didn't know what masculine energy was. I didn't know what feminine energy was. I was just living my life. I was just doing what I was taught to do, or what I learned from movies growing up, or society, or school, or my girlfriends, or my mom. I was just doing what they all did." And so you don't know a lot of these things because you haven't been taught them, because oftentimes there's forces in society that really don't want women to be in their feminine, don't want men to be in their masculine, because then there would be happy relationships. And some people don't want that. Some people want to reduce the human population. They want people to be unhappy because they're easier to control. They're easier to then just rely on them for help. And so, rely on them to get to be led, like by the government, for example, or other forces that just may not have your best intentions in mind. So you have to look outside of those forces and say, I'm going to learn, I'm going to get educated myself in different ways of looking at things, different ways of being. I'm going to get coaching support ideally so I can see my blind spots, and then I can understand for myself what masculine energy is, what feminine energy is, and I can approach my relationship from a more empowered place. I'm not saying that that could be the truth or what happened with you, Pina, but it could be possible. And so the other thing to be aware of beyond that, which I will say is, so you already had sex. There was one thing. Okay, so one thing we teach our women in our programs, that's a very powerful process. Now, this is especially key if you've had a man who's broken up with you, or he's pulled away in a big way, or he hates you, he doesn't like you anymore, he doesn't want anything to do with you. Now, there's a process we walk our clients in that situation with, which is actually a lot of women who come to us, which is called the big apology. Now, the big apology, it's a very long process. We have a whole training on what to do step by step and how to prepare for it and what to say during the conversation, how to get that conversation set up with him. But it's really a process where you do a self-audit of all the ways you might have been in your masculine energy in the relationship. And we go through the list of all those different ways that what it could have been. And then once you're aware of what those things could have been, if there were some there, now you set up a conversation with him. You set up a call with him or a conversation in person where you can share those things with him, be authentic and open and vulnerable with him, and apologize for those things, really, and ask him for help. And we've seen that really shift the relationships and bring men back and bring back the passion and devotion in a relationship as well, because it's really a way to kind of clear the slate, get things out in the open, show that you're aware now that the fish is no longer in the water. Now the fish is aware of the water, and you're showing him that, hey, I realized I was doing this, this, and that, which was probably disrespectful to you. And so then he can see and he can start to trust you more and actually feel like more of a hero, more of a man potentially in your relationship. Now he can feel that he can actually be in that role and be your hero, be your protector, be your provider, and feel valued for that. And that he can trust you again, that won't happen again. And it can really shift the relationship potentially. So that's something I would recommend. And that's an advanced process. So I can't go all into it here because it would take a long time, but I would highly recommend getting that, because that will help you to get back on track with him. Most likely, as long as he's not a broken man and there's other things going on, that's probably going to be the biggest thing that'll shift your relationship with him, but we'll have to see. And either way, getting coaching support with that and going into more specifics will probably really help you get back on track with him if he's a man you really want to have in your life. So hope that was helpful. Let's see a couple more here. The guy I'm dating at the moment talks about being a high value man and wants women to compete over him because he's the prize. What do you think about his view? He's not a high value man, at least not in that moment. He's actually a feminine man in that moment, because feminine energy is about, I want women to compete over me, and I want women to treat me, and I want them to fight for me and show to me how they're worth me being with. And, I'm going to let them basically, compete over me and devote and show them why I should be with them. So he's taking a feminine approach, because feminine energy is about, I'm the prize, I'm this beautiful flower, and the honeybees are going to come to the flower. The way that he actually shows his value as a man, a high value man would never say something like that. A high value man would be a great protector, provider, and a hero. And if the woman he's with is not receiving his leadership, or is not valuing him in a certain way, then he would leave that relationship. That's what a high value man would do. A high value man would not stay in a relationship where he feels unvalued or disrespected, or that he can't really serve and be a hero in that situation, that his woman is just not reciprocating from her feminine what he's putting down, what he's giving to her. And so that's more of what a high value man would do. So he's actually reversed it. And now he's wanting you to basically be the man and wanting himself to be the woman, and saying, like, you need to do more things for me. I'm the prize. You need to compete for me. So the first thing I would do is be aware of that, which I just showed you. The next thing you need to do is share your feelings around what he shared. You need to reverse that polarity. You need to not let him push you into being the masculine and fighting for his attention, what he's saying that he wants. You need to instead be vulnerable and share your heart, how that makes you feel, and asking him for help. Like, I don't know what to do. You said this. It made me feel anxiety. It made me feel sadness. I'm telling myself a story that you don't really value me, that you don't really want to be my man, and I don't know what to do. Can I have some help? That could be like an example of how you could share some of those feelings with him, and asking him for help with that, asking him to provide for you so that it reverses polarity, and then he starts come crawling back to you, hopefully, to be a man now. That's not really masculine, crawling back, but he's stepping back up to be a man, to show you that he wants to help you, he wants to provide, and he doesn't want to be a wimp anymore and be this wishy-washiness. You know, Jesus said, I don't want you. If you're lukewarm, I want you to get out. I don't want to eat food that's lukewarm. If you're lukewarm, I'm going to spit you out of my mouth. I'd rather have you be hot or cold. And you kind of need to be like Jesus in that moment. You need to say, look, I want a man who treats me with care and devotion. And if you're not able to care for me in that way, I'm going to spit you out. Like, I don't want lukewarm. I want you either hot or cold. Like, get out of my life, leave me alone, or devote to me and be my man and be my hero and my king. And so you need to share your feelings around that. And hopefully he will help you with that and want to provide. And if he doesn't, if you use our 90-day challenge, or maybe you need to use it as a 60-day challenge or a 30-day challenge, which will give you step-by-step what to do to how to really embrace your feminine energy and your feminine communication. Give him a period of time, and hopefully he will shift, and hopefully he'll start showing that care and devotion for you. And if he doesn't, then you're going to need to move on. He's either a broken man or he just simply doesn't have enough care for you. You're going to need to move on as a high-value woman, because ultimately that's how you hold your value as a woman, is being willing to walk away. You know, feminine energy is great, and we teach that, and this is a big part of feminine energy, is actually being willing to value yourself and willing to walk away for yourself if a man's not treating you well, rather than trying to continually nag and complain and try to change him. You need to share your feelings vulnerably and respectfully and see how he shifts. And if he doesn't, you need to walk away. You need to use what we'll teach you with that process. And if he doesn't shift, which I'm really surprised, I would be surprised by if he doesn't, then he's a broken man probably, and you need to get out. You need to set a boundary with yourself. You need to move on. So hope that will help, but likely it's not going to be that case if you use the 90-day challenge or the 30-day challenge. But if it doesn't, you need to be holding your head held high as a queen and be willing to walk away from that. And so there's a lot of other questions. I'm going to have to call it a night for tonight, but a lot of people said, thank you, you're welcome. And some others said, thank you, appreciate the coaching, you're welcome. Yep, glad this was helpful for everyone who was here. And hopefully you got some golden nuggets. Again, take the free quiz. If you haven't yet, you can click the link in the comments or description below, or go to our website, magnetizeyourman.com, or click on our bio, depending on where you're watching this. Get the advanced training, get on the journey, because this is a life journey. We're going to help you with this. Join our communities of women who are mastering this. They're sharing success stories every day, and we'd love to help you really have the best relationship of your life. And this will improve all areas of your life as well. When you're connected to your feminine core, you're living this way as a woman, and join a community of women who will support you on that, because it's a beautiful journey once you do it. And it just takes that courage to start on the path and to take that step to get on that journey to have a loving, long-term, committed relationship with the man you desire and have it last long-term. So Much love. Take care. And I look forward to talking to you in future trainings, videos, coaching later on and very soon, likely. Much love. Bye-bye.